Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Gifted Youngsters. Professor Xavier's Home for Peculiar Children. Ugh. Is it bad that even the name of this movie seems derivative of something? Like, jeez. And of course the whole thing is just some... The premise seems pretty similar too, just a bunch of kids with superpowers in a school, and then something bad happens. Okay. Based off of a book, so, trying to get in on that Harry Potter money. I thought they had given up on that, because nothing they tried ever worked, but, I'll try it again sometime. And Tim Burton's involved, but he hasn't made anything in, years that's actually been good. At least nothing, mainstream that's been good. So, my expectations are incredibly low, so that means it has room to really shock me and really make me enjoy it, so it has that on its side. But generally I think this is just going to be, very, very average, and not very creative or fun or anything. Except for maybe a scene or two. So that's my full prediction, just... yeah, guess we'll get to it. I have nothing else to say on it. This was not a good night for me. This movie sucks. No, I can't even say that. It didn't suck so much as it was not very good. Now, admittedly, if you just sit there and you turn off your brain and you just watch it straight up, you'll say, well, that wasn't so bad. And then you go home and you put it in the same spot of your mind reserved for Nanny McPhee or Legend of the Water Horse, quirky, semi-British movies that you don't really think about. So, in that respect, sure, it's fine. There's nothing, terrible about it. You can go watch it, you can enjoy it for what it is, and you can leave. But its problems stem more from a complete and utter lack of intelligence, lack of good storytelling, lack of a solid lore. The lore gets really confusing, and just some really, really dark undertones going on here. Specifically, when you actually really think about the situations involved, just how dark it really is. And I don't mean in terms of the poorly made analogies to World War II. I'm talking dark in terms of keeping people prisoners for hundreds upon hundreds of years for no reason other than the fact that they have mouths on the back of their heads. So, yeah, this movie, I actually looked up when the book this was based on came out, just so I don't seem silly when I reference it. It came out in 2011, so I can say this easily. This really is a ripoff of the X-Men in many different ways. I'm not just talking about a school with, superhumans and stuff. I mean, seriously, the fact that the peculiar gene is responsible for it. Which I don't know how, considering they don't let anyone breed, but whatever. And it gives people superpowers. There's a whole discrimination thing going on there. The X-Men was analogous to the Civil Rights Movement, if you don't know. And this movie is slap you over the head analogous to the Nazis. For instance, the bad guys, or at least the bad guy monster versions, are called, I kid you not, the Holocasts. The Holocasts. I'm sorry that I can't help but laugh at how incredibly stupid that that is, but they're seriously called the hollow casts. How long did it take you to think up that one, guys? Jesus Christ. Where do I even start with the lore problems, though? I mean, dear God. So, let me just give you a rundown here. So, as I said, it's totally the X-Men thing, like, complete copy of the X-Men thing. You know, there's some people who were born as superhumans, and, you know, people hate and fear them because of it. But the only difference here is that some of these superhumans are called something or others, and they give them a few different powers, one of which is to turn birds, and they're always women for some reason, and the other one is that they can manipulate time in different ways, and the one they specifically use it for is just repeating the same day over and over, right? So what they do is that they find other peculiars as children, and take them all away and put them in, like, houses or whatever, and repeat the same day over and over. Nobody ever ages, nobody is allowed to leave, and they just do that for all eternity. See where I'm getting to with the whole dark undertones thing? They don't really elaborate on that either. And it's also a little confusing, because one of the older characters in the movie, he actually did leave a while ago, but, like, this is the character played by Terrence Stamp, but there's another character in Miss Peregrine's home who seems jealous of the fact that he left, and seems to think that he can't. Like, Terrence Stamp's ability is that he can see stuff, and that's it. So you might be arguing, oh, well, it's not as obvious as the lady who flies, who's lighter than air and needs steel shoes to walk around. Like, it's like, yeah, I guess you could argue that, except this particular guy, who doesn't seem very happy with the lifestyle he has, his superpower is that he can make puppets if he wants to. Like, it seems like a pretty manageable superpower if he felt like leaving. So, kind of get the idea he's not allowed to. And all we got on that sense was just Miss Peregrine saying, like, it's better this way. So it's making you think, like, okay, so this is like a prison camp. That's pretty terrible. Hell, one of the kids died and they just keep his dead body upstairs in his bed. I'm not even joking. This is a serious thing. So, you know, well, other than that, everything's all good, right? There's nothing wrong. Well, apparently there are a bunch of peculiars, this stupid name, who have escaped these camps and grown up, but want immortality, right? But they don't want to live in these time loops, so they just, so their specific plan is to put metal buckets on their heads and then electrocute one of the ladies who can control time and turn to birds, and then see if that can make him immortal. Science, I don't know. Instead it turned them into invisible monsters who need to eat eyes to not be invisible monsters. I wish I wasn't making that up. This is the plot. But the most ridiculous one to me. So, these are the antagonists, right? They have to eat the eyes of other peculiars. God, I hate saying that. Of other mutants, specifically kids. So, you know, our heroes are in danger. And when they do that, they look a little more human, right? So, they said, so this is what makes them the antagonists, right? They raid these time loops and take all the kids and eat their eyes and all that, right? Okay, I can get that. But what I have trouble getting is that there was maybe like 10 people in the room that he put the metal bucket heads on and turned into monsters. And for whatever reason, 6 of them continued to follow Samuel L. Jackson, who's the guy who did it. They continue to follow him, and the other ones are still monsters, right? Well, Terrence Stamp, he spent his whole life, like, up until the beginning of the movie, hunting down all the hollow casts, and, like, just stopping them, because he can see them, right? Here's the thing. He did a pretty crappy job, because at the end of the movie, we're seeing all this stuff happen, and because of weird time travel nonsense, it's happening before the beginning of the movie, but not really, but it is, but not really. It's hard to explain. And we see there's like 4 people who are still in human form and 4 monsters. So, wait, he killed like 2 guys? No, actually, Miss Peregrine killed one of them, so like he killed 1 guy? Dude, you suck at this. Or are we supposed to get the idea that Terrence Stamp went around conducting more Buckethead experiments? With the exact same results each time? How often did people fall for that? We're like, oh yeah, immortality. Hey, the last batch of people turned into monsters. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine this time. Oh no, I'm a monster. Well, I'm sure that next batch of people will get it right. Why are you still following this guy? What could he possibly offer you now? Jeez. I mean, like, Samuel L. Jackson's the only character I even, like, remotely cared about in the movie, just because he didn't take the movie seriously. And neither did I. The movie's stupid. And then there's not even, like, plot... Then there's not even just lore questions. There's plot questions, too. Like, at the very end, this is the laziest writing I've ever seen. Samuel L. Jackson's superpower is that he can transform into whoever he wants, right? They established that he can't transform his eyes, so he has to wear contact lenses, but he transforms into our main character, eyes and all. Fuck you, movie. And, you know, they do that whole, who's the real one, who do I shoot thing. And this is resolved when a hollow cast just strolls in there, mistakes the boss for the main character, and then eats him. And that's the end. That's how they resolve it. Like, literally, our main character does nothing to resolve the situation. And bear in mind, the Holocast came the fuck out of nowhere. They're giant invisible monsters, but they can't do anything, like, too special. Like, they can't just apparate through walls or anything. It literally comes out of nowhere. This is a room with 1 door. He comes from behind them, from nowhere, and just proceeds to eat Samuel L. Jackson. Which, you know, cool, but that is lazy. And I guess they try to make it seem like, oh yeah, our character used his superpower because he watches it come and eat him and doesn't say anything. I'm pretty sure literally if he didn't do anything, that still would have happened. I mean, inevitably it was somebody else who shot that monster and killed it, so what the hell? Oh. So yeah, this movie's a pile of garbage. And you know what's worse? During the first 30 minutes, I almost thought it was going to be clever. I thought they were going to go for this whole, like a mystery kind of thing. Because during the first 30 minutes, they were heavily hinting that this whole, like, home for superheroes thing and all that, this could just be the delusions of an old man who had to suffer through the horrors of World War II as a kid and had to flee Poland and all that. Like, it's like, oh man, this could be interesting. You know, this could be like, there could be some cool analogies in here. There could be some hallucination stuff. You know, this is pretty adult themes for a kid's book, for a kid's movie, you know, and nope, it's all real. It's all stupid. All by a talentless hack. And whoever wrote the book. Yeah. Sad to say it, but yet another Tim Burton flop, I'm afraid. Yeah. Pile of garbage. And until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching A Dire Situation.